My name is Inka. I'm a compulsive eater and I'm abstinent and grateful because I weigh and measure my 3 meals a day of the Cambridge GreySheet as written. I write my meals down. I commit them to my sponsor on time. I eat my meals no matter what, and I don't eat between my meals no matter what. And abstinence is the most important thing in my life because without abstinence, I don't have a life and I don't have a recovery. And I'm abstinent since the 5th of September 2014. And thank you for asking me to join this meeting and to do a qualification. It is a privilege and it is an honor, and I mean it. I didn't expect that this meeting will be so big and it will be full of women because actually one of the gifts of abstinence I want to talk about is femininity and beauty. I was advised actually not to talk much about the past because we have a topic and that's the gifts of abstinence. And it just did. I was thinking about it. There were how many and what I would pick, and it's so difficult to pick just one gift of abstinence. And if I'm given the choice to pick just one, I would definitely say life, because before GreySheet, it wasn't life. It wasn't even surviving. It was just a living death, and what an oxymoron. And the thing is that I didn't want to live, but I didn't want to die, but I didn't know how to live. And it was just like something in between. It was really like when you can feel a presence of a ghost, who is like dead, but the physical body is dead, but their spirit is still somewhere in the earth, and you have to call an exorcist or you have to call a priest or someone to help that spirit to actually like leave. And that's how I felt, like I'm just a ghost, just a spirit. um, and I hated my life completely. I hated myself. It was just full of hatred. um, and I and yeah, I remember, I was like depressed, and you all know this story of full of hatred, full of pity, and my life code was just to be a victim, and hated everyone for not seeing me, for not hearing me, and not being a part of a team at work or family. And it's the same characteristic for every one of us. I don't mean to generalize, but I'm sure that some of you can relate to this feeling. But um, and also I have to say, that even after becoming abstinent, it didn't go away straight away. This feeling of hatred or falling in love with life. Um, Actually, at some point, it almost multiplied those feelings, because now there was nothing what I could suppress them with. Um, but thank God that I was able to keep a lot of lucidity, and thanks to the help of my sponsor, who I shared honestly and attended meetings, and um, I knew that that's not a fault of GreySheet, because I see a lot of people in their early days actually blaming GreySheet or leaving GreySheet because they can't really cope with their feelings and with all these suppressed feelings, which I had as well, of depression and hatred and anger. um, and I stayed, and I knew that I just have to be patient, and I just have to go through, um, and just to embrace it. And so yeah, that's the biggest gift. Like, I have a life, like fulfilling, abundant life. um, and I was thinking as well, like how many gifts which I would like to pick, which are the most important for me. and and the first one is definitely recovery. That thanks to the GreySheet, I feel like I have a proper recovery, because before I joined GreySheet, I was in another 12-step fellowship where I was recovering from addiction to drugs, and either in solid or liquid form. And but I just couldn't really grasp it. I was working the step work. I had a sponsor, and I was doing surveys, and I was working hard. But it was it when I don't mean to. Yeah, I did compare myself to other members of the fellowship, and I just couldn't really get it. I wanted to be where they were so much, but I couldn't because there was always something blocking me, and that was the food. And I felt like a fraud. I remember I was a chair of PI committee, and we not PI H&I committee, hospitals and institutions, and we went to like treatment centers and other facilities, and we were talking about recovery and how life is great without drugs and alcohol. And I remember whenever I said these words like I love my life without drugs and alcohol, and inside I was just screaming that I absolutely hate it. I don't know what to do. And after every single Sunday we did the service in hospitals and institutions, I went back home, and on my way home I stopped in a supermarket and bought like 4 bags of food, which 2 of them I actually ate on the way home, and then finished the remaining 2 bags, and just I was just binging, and I felt like a fraud because 2 hours ago I was talking about honesty and willingness and spiritual principles, and all of a sudden I was in this mess and in this hell, and I felt like this is not recovery. But I kept it so secret that I I was just too ashamed to share it at the meetings, um, and because I created this persona around me, of a strong member of this fellowship, but I was really a joke. Um, so thanks to the Grey Sheet, I have a proper recovery, and I feel it, and I mean it, and I live it. And I used to do a lot of meetings, but then I realized actually that meeting makers just make it to the meeting, and but step workers make it to the life. And um, you know that that thanks to the Grey Sheet, and I don't mean to scare anyone, but thanks to the Grey Sheet I discovered other addictions in my life, and and I had to join other fellowships as well and address problems with compulsive debting, spending, under earning, smoking, codependent relationships, sex and love addiction, um, and God knows what else. Currently I'm in 6 fellowships, but like I said, it doesn't have to be your journey, but it was mine, and I have no regrets whatsoever that I had to address these fellowships as well, or these issues too, and these addictions, because like I said, that thanks to the Grey Sheet, the Pandora box just got open, and I had to had a close look at my life through the step work, and as well because my sponsor, she always pointed her finger somewhere where it needed to be something what I didn't see. So yeah, thanks to the Grey Sheet, I feel like that excuse my French, that I've got my shit together finally, because before I was just a mess. Even Abstinent, my first year of Grey Sheet, I was still crazy. And I remember when my sponsor told me once, because I was sharing something about hunger, I can't even remember, or maybe something about my ex-partner, because I was in a relationship when I joined the Grey Sheet, and yeah, it was very toxic relationship. No wonder, because I chose that partner, or that boyfriend in that time when I was crazy. Thank you, 5 minutes. And I'm just even on gift one, right? So anyway, recovery is the greatest, one of the greatest gifts. Another one is, I wanted to talk about beauty, because not only the physical beauty. Yeah, GreySheet gave me a beautiful body. I shed few pounds. I've never been really like fat or obese, but I was chubby. But now I'm in a very good shape. I have a very beautiful physical body, but I have very beautiful energetic and spiritual body as well. Because of the spiritual work I'm doing, and because of the spiritual principles I apply in my life, and not only apply them, but I live them. Yes, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but that's beautiful as well. You know, when you can admit it, when you can see that, okay, I made a mistake, and when you can make an amend, and when you're not afraid to make an amend, in a beautiful, loving way towards yourself. Also, the beauty in a way that I can acknowledge and see the beauty in other women, because before, every single woman was either a skinny bitch for me, or a competition, or just, you know, that arrogance I had, was just blocking the adoration and admiration of other women. Because when I adore other women and admire other women, I can assimilate their qualities, and amplify the qualities within myself. And whenever I stop and block the beauty, either within myself or in other women or other men as well, I stop the beauty coming into my life in whatever shape or form. So the relationship with women I have now is just ineffable, and it's beautiful. And I actually, thanks to the GreySheeters, I started to work as a coach with women, and I teach women as well, and I hold regular classes and tantra groups for women, and I'm helping other women to embrace their femininity and to understand what femininity really means, and sensuality, because before it wasn't in my vocabulary. Just to really like acknowledge that you're a sensual, beautiful being. It, 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 this is God, and that's another gift for me. I got, thanks to the GreySheet, that I have understanding of God, and not only the understanding, but I feel His presence. Again, thanks to the beauty, and thanks to other women. And when I look at myself in the mirror, I can acknowledge God, because I'm just His mirror in the mirror. So God is definitely the gift of abstinence, because I see God even in on my plate. That for me, GreySheet is not just a fellowship, or a piece of sheet which you pick your foods from. For me, GreySheet is a divine entity, and I have to cherish it, and I have to honor it. And not only I have to, but I want to. And I'm in absolute love with this entity, because through this entity manifests this beauty and harmony and love in my life. The fourth gift is that I know who I am. I felt very, very lost my whole life, and which is actually kind of a good thing, because in order to find yourself, you first need to like lose yourself. Is the thank you acknowledged 1 minute. It's the same like when you lose your glasses, then logically you will find them eventually, maybe. But if you know what I mean, that I was very, very lost, and I was looking for myself in other people, in the food, in various actions and ways, and always externally. But today I know who I am, and I know where I'm going and why I'm here. And it's very important, because it grounds me, and that's what shapes me as a person. I remember I went once on a date few months ago, and the gentleman asked me, "So who are you?" That's the question. Who are you? And And I told him straight away, without no hesitation, like, I'm love. I am love. And I don't have to create any con icons around me, or personas, or put any masks on. There's nothing shameful about, you know, being a beautiful, sensual woman full of love. And the purpose of my life as well, acknowledged, is that there's no purpose to life, because life is a purpose on its own. And I love it, because I love GreySheet, because I love my food, because I love myself. And I genuinely mean it, not just as a cliche, but this is a beauty and gift of abstinence. Thank you.